Okay, today I'll be making sulfur soap, hot process again. Fortunately, I sell out and it's just such a delightful thing. So I have oils in here all melted. I have lard, which keeps things moving and is wonderful for our skin. And coconut oil, shea butter, avocado oil, and grapeseed oil. And I'm soaping at a 38% water, which is what they call full water. And I have here my lye mixture with organic sugar and sodium lactate. And give me a minute and we'll put this in. Oils are at 135, 136. And our lye, which is right here, let's move this over a little. We like to stir it so we get a better temperature because it only reads the top are at about 95, 96, which is fine. So I am going to go ahead and pour this lye mixture into my oils on the stick blender to reduce some of the bubbles. Okay, so we have our 38% water lye mixture with organic sugar and sodium lactate. And I see a little bit left in here. We'll just get that rest of that out. And put the lid back on this. I do have my charcoal all mixed with some olive oil in here. I have my, sorry, not olive oil, some grapeseed oil. And I have the sulfur, which is such a beautiful little yellow, light yellow. And we have bentonite clay, which tends to just clump at the bottom, but we'll mix it before we pour into there. And our luscious kaolin clay, which is right here. So I have about a heaping tablespoon of each of those in those containers, and that should be sufficient. So we will get started. I can move this a little bit more towards me. And I have my temperature settings on low. And because of the lard rather, this will be slow to trace. So if you want a slow tracing batter for design, even in cold process, lard is a good choice. And I know that for soap dough, it's a good choice too. It's actually really good for your skin. Okay, we have trace, I believe, yes, so that's good. So I think that let's see, what is my temperature at? Temperature is at 122, so that's pretty nice. So I have another batch I'm doing over there, so I'm going to go ahead and stick blend that one and let this one set up. I'm going to make sure that I scrape down my sides and mix this, so if there's any bubbles we can mix the bubbles out. Not as critical as in cold process. So I can make this soap cold process, but in my opinion the essential oils have a chance to stick in the soap much better if they're put in after the cook and the temperature is cooled way down. And people have said, you know, below 160. I like to go to 140, 130 to put in my essential oils. And I get this really cool design with the thicker, gloppier hot process, which I like this design in this soap. It's quite unique, I think. I haven't seen anyone do it quite like this. So we will go ahead and let this cook. And I'm going to just leave it on low and let it cook and go through the process where it gets hard-ish. And then after it gets a little firm, it'll start cooking and coming up over the edge with the gel soap. And then once it's all completely gelled, then we'll mix it. Anything that has separated we'll mix in. Then we'll separate into our different ingredients. So we'll see you in a probably 15-20 minutes, and I'll show you the gelling happening. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, here we are, and we have this already starting. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes, so it's starting to cook along the edge there where the heating element is, and we will bring you back, show you the next stages. So I want to bring you back and show you the oil separation, which is in the middle here. I don't know if you can see it, it's in here. And then we have some gelling coming up over the top. It's only been another 5 minutes, happening very quickly, so we'll bring you back again. Okay, y'all, we have gotten to the point where things have rolled over and it's still solid in the middle here, so we have to wait a few more minutes. So it's been about 20 minutes since we started cooking this after blending it. So another 10 minutes and we should be done. Okay, so it's been another 2 minutes, not 10 minutes, but it's cooked all the way through. So I'm going to stir this with my whisk, and then we're going to, because there is no solid left in here, and I'm going to turn my heat off because the heat that is left in here will be enough to cook this. And since I have full water, and I know some will evaporate, is not a big deal. That's why I use full water, because I'd prefer to use less, but it helps keep it fluid. So it's not done yet. It looks like mashed potatoes, don't you think? I think so. So let me get my little piece of paper towel here, and we'll put some soap on there. Put the rest of this back in, cover it up, let it cook. We're going to keep an eye on it because you don't want it to volcano. I'm going to use this phenolphthalein solution. See if we can get it to focus. Phenolphthalein solution, 1%. I actually got it on Amazon. And move this out of the way, and we don't want to drip this into our pot. But you can see how much red and pink, rather, that comes on there. So that indicates the pH level, and the pH level is not at a point where it's ready to take out of the mold, take out of the pot and put it into our different additives that we're going to use. Now we have a little boiling up here. So I'm going to give it another stir, and already it's thickening up, and I see that gel starting to come in. So we're going to scrape down our sides here. We don't want any pieces of white soap that don't accept our additive. So we're going to let that sit for a few minutes, and we'll be back to test it again. Okay, let's see where we're at now. We'll give this a little mix, and we'll do another pH test. Looks like it's coming along. Stirring it sort of speeds things up, and it homogenizes everything, mixes everything together, gets the heat moved around evenly. But you do get a lot on your spoon, so that's why you wear these heavier, thick gloves making hot process, because this is, whoa, you can feel it through these gloves. Okay, so let's get a little bit on here. Scrape our edges. Nothing on the edges. Put our lid back on. Move it this way. Get the phenolphthalein. Give it a test, and ta-da! It's done. No pink there at all. So we can move it now into our containers that have all of the additives, which I have right here. There's the sulfur, which is 99.5% pure brimstone. It's actually like a sand. It likes to gravitate to the bottom. I have to keep mixing it to keep it mixed in. Same for the bentonite clay. It likes to gravitate to the bottom. So we mix that. And the charcoal stays actually mixed pretty well. So that's nice. But we'll still mix it. And the kaolin clay stays mixed pretty well too. So we'll get these out. Our crock pot is turned off. And we'll get the spoon and we'll start lobbing them into each of these evenly, which is, let's see if I can get this so you can see better. See if I can move this up just a titch. I got a new stand, and I'm still learning how this thing works, so I'm going to loosen up this twisty thing so you can see. There we go. It's kind of better. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, this is kaolin clay, charcoal, sulfur, and the bentonite. So we need some in the kaolin and some in the charcoal. And we have to be careful not to plop this too hard because we don't want it splashing out. So we're just going to be careful and get big spoonfuls in each pot. This is the only way I can make it as even as I can. so we get even distribution in our mold of all of these lovely additives. So I put half of my sodium lactate into my lye water. Once my lye water was cooled down a little bit, that wasn't really a full spoonful. We like extra charcoal, so I'll just throw an extra one in there. And so if I need to add a little bit more sodium lactate, I'll put that into these containers to loosen it up if I need to. But we also have the essential oils that need to go in, and so putting these into these bowls away from the heat of the crock pot itself will also cool them down. Stirring them will cool them down. Adding the essential oils will help to keep things on a more fluid level, and works out pretty good if you ask me. So we want to get as much as we can, but already I have hardened soap that's on the side here, so I'm going to not try to get that. I'm just going to get the rest of what's here, and we shall move this out of the way. Let me get the cord. Okay, now it's a matter of mixing. So this is our bentonite clay, and our temperature is at 148, 151, 149, somewhere in there. And this is fairly good fluidity to mix this, you know, so. And like I said, I wanted to get to at least 140 before I put in the essential oils, which I have right here. So that's the bentonite. Here's the sulfur. Beautiful yellow. Gives your arm a workout. We want to make sure we 146 on this one. Make sure we get it mixed in evenly. We don't want to see any streaks. We want everything to be evenly mixed. And then we want to scrape down the sides, otherwise they get hard and crusty and leave chunks in the soap, and I like a smooth looking hot process. Okay, I just want to make sure that one was scraped down well. Now we have kaolin clay, which would be hard to see because it's a similar color as the natural soap batter, but it gives the soap a nice contrast to have this lighter color in there, and it has a nice slip to the bar too. Sometimes I don't put this one in. Sometimes I just do the 3. But this time we're doing all of them. So now the charcoal, which we're at 146. And like I said before, I have 1 heaping tablespoon of each of these additives. And this makes a really nice charcoal, dark black charcoal soap. And the end result is wonderful. And I use this same bucket every time I make the charcoal soap, so I don't have any charcoal streaks in all my buckets. So we'll scrape this down as best we can. And There, they're all mixed. So now we just have to wait until the temperature goes down to 140. So we'll just mix a little more, which speeds up the process. Okay. Scrape it a little better. There we go. Try this one again tonight. It's a nice tan color, isn't it? Here's some of that white soap trying to get in there. Nobody, you're not wanted. Okay. Now I have something in there. Looks like a piece of charcoal. Get that out. So we'll mix this. Let's see, 143, 141, pretty good. $140, $143. So it's getting there. Very, very nice. Okay. Okay. Sure is a workout. I think my arm's getting tired. I still have another whole batch to go, and this other crock pot's going. So, get these little pieces of soap here out of the way, so they didn't get put back into the soap. It's really nice. This sulfur gives a nice exfoliation. If you were to look on a, see, this is at the right temperature to get the essential oils. If you were to look at sulfur under a microscope, you would see, there's a couple of chunks, get those out. You would see each grain of the sulfur has lots of spiky points. And that's what makes it very exfoliating. See, this is down to a good temperature. And I got way too much soap in my... There we go. Okay. So those three are ready. Let's see. And this one's at definitely down there. Okay, so I think we can add our essential oils. So let's put these together. So we'll shake up our container here. I have probably, you can see I don't have really very much that goes in all of these. I get 22 bars of soap, and I have about 3.5 ounces of essential oil. So we'll go around and we'll put in some in each. I'll have to scrape my pot, I mean in my container, because you don't want any of the essential oils not to be in the soap, so I want every drip. Stuff's expensive, you know. Alright, tea tree and lemon is what I'm using because it's great for your skin, and it is a very nice fragrance in the soap when you mix them together. I call it clean. This blend is a 50-50 lemon and tea tree blend, so that's blended in. Let's do the lid back on here. We'll blend our charcoal. You have to be careful not to splash because you don't want to waste any. And stir it up real quick so it gets mixed in there really good. Scrape our edges as best we can. Okay. And we'll do the kaolin clay now. As you can see, it loosens it up once you've put in your essential oils. So we didn't need to add any more sodium lactate. So I added about a half a teaspoon per pound of oil of sodium lactate. And I didn't have to add the other half a teaspoon. So now we have the bentonite. With the lemon, with the tea tree is a little bit, you either love it or hate it, but with the lemon it makes it a lot more palatable and pleasant. Okay, that's that, and now we can get our molds out. So I like to use these Essential Depot molds for this particular soap. Let me get 4 spoons. So I can just I just like to do lots of dishes. But with hot process, of course, doing the dishes is I soak it and then I rinse it pretty much because the soap's already made. So it's not usually a problem. Okay. Oops. I lost some on the counter. Okay. Now, if you can see, let's see if I can lift you up here a little bit. My other crock pot over there, it's about ready to come up over the edge. So we don't want that. So we have to keep an eye on it and make sure that it goes down. And we'll give this one a stir. This one's about ready. Yeah, a lot of gelling on the bottom where the heat is. It's turning to soap very, very, very quickly. I'm going to turn the heat off on this one. Scrape my edges. And we'll come back to that. In the meantime, let me get you back down here where we're going to fill our molds now. Everything's cooled off enough. Okay. I like to have, let me get finished getting these out. I like to have the charcoal on the bottom. It gives a nice dark look on the base of the soap, which I like. So we'll just go ahead and do that. So we'll put some there, and we'll smush that in a minute. Just finish getting some in here. That looks good. We want to push this in on the bottom. Here, and the unevenness of it is a bonus. We like it. So we'll put some kaolin in next, and we'll mush it around. Doing this a little bit differently than I have in the past. I found some of the bars didn't get as much charcoal in them as I wanted, so this is my way of rectifying that. And now we'll put the sulfur in. Make sure we're recording. Make sure we're getting all the edges and the corners sticking. Okay, that looks good. Now the bentonite. Okay, make sure it's sticking all around all the edges. Over here. Okay, and we're back again to this charcoal. We want to just put blobs in. We want it to look blobby. So that looks pretty good. Do some more blobs here. And we're out of blobs. And that's good. Okay, maybe I can scrape a little bit more out of here. And get it in there. It's just great. And we'll go back to the sulfur. And we'll do some blobs here. And the final blob. Now, in this recipe for these 8-quart crock pots, I use 90 ounces of oils. These are a little tough, but I think they'll, I mean, not tough, but hard, but I think they'll go in nicely. There. Now let's do the bentonite. Some blobs of that. Here. There. There. Cleaning up hot process is a breeze next to cold process. It's just so much easier. I love it. It's like no problem at all. Okay, get that going. And last but not least, we have the rest of the kaolin clay. And we'll blob that in here, here, here. And I've almost scraped it all out. Just a little bit left. And I do make a big mess when I make soap, but so now what I like to do is bang it down. So I'll bang it down, I'll be right back. Okay, then I just want to make sure it's all in there, flattened out, and that's the way it's going to look on the top when it's all said and done. That's it. Ta-da! Okay, y'all, let's see you at the cut for this one.